Hey gang, today I want to introduce you to a topic that helped me a lot, and if you don't know it already, I think it'll probably help you. And that is the harmonized major scale. And one of the reasons why it's so helpful is that it applies to so many songs in popular music, and also the way that people talk about guitar. And it's going to really help you think about the fretboard and what chords fit into what songs. So to do this, we're going to start in, we're just going to introduce this, and maybe we'll do more with it later. But just as an introduction, let's do this in C, not because everybody does it in C, but because it is the easiest to grasp, because C major has no sharps and no flats. So let's do it also with, we're going to be working with a fifth, with a root on the fifth string. So we'll start with a C on the third fret right here. And let's just play the C, the C major scale going up that fifth string. So we'll play a C, fifth fret is a D, seventh fret is an E, eighth fret is an F, 10th fret is a G, 12th fret is an A, 14th fret is a B, and 15th fret is C again. All right, coming down. Now what we're going to do is we're going to put chords on each of those, and each of those notes has a chord that is a certain flavor. And by flavor, I mean major, minor, seventh, or what people call dominant seventh, and diminished, okay, or half diminished, minor seventh, flat five. So let's start with the simple one. Let's start with a C, and that happens to be a C major. So that's your normal C major chord. By the way, I have this all tabbed out, and it's in the description. So we'll start out on the C major. The 2 chord is a minor. So we're going to play a D minor. So the chord that goes with the C major scale when you play a D is a minor. So you play D minor. Many songs that are in C major have a D minor chord. Okay, the 3 chord is an E minor. 4 chord is a major, F major. The 5 chord is a 7th chord, so we'll play a G 7th. Now the reason why people call it dominant 7th is because it distinguishes it from the major 7th chord, which sounds like this, which is not what we want here. We want a dominant 7th. Okay. The 6th chord is a minor, it's A minor. 7th chord is a half diminished, and we'll talk about this in just a minute. B minor, or B half diminished, or minor 7th flat 5 is another name for that chord. And finally the C major. Okay, let's do that one more time. C major, D minor, E minor, F major, G 7th, A minor, B minor 7th flat 5, and C. Okay, so now that we know the harmonized major scale, what can we use it for? Well, there's lots of things that you can use it for, or use it with. Let me just give you a few. One is it can help you find or determine the key of a song. So I'm going to do a very simple example, Let It Be by the Beatles. The chord sequence happens to be C to G, A minor, F, C, G, F, back to C. If we look at those chords, we've got the C, which is a 1 chord of C. We've got a G, which is close to the 5 chord of C, right? Normally we have a dominant 7th, but this is a major. Playing the 7th doesn't make too much of a difference there. So that's the 5 chord of C. A minor, which is the 6 chord of C. F, which is the 4 chord of C. And those are all the chords. So it really fits nicely in the C major scale. All of that works. So Let It Be happens to be in C major. All right. If you solo, if you're playing improvised and you play the C major scale over that, it's going to sound great. All right, that's one use. Another, perhaps much more important use is a lot of musicians talk this way, and they talk about how a song's going to go based on the harmonized major scale. So if you've ever heard anybody say, hey, it's a 1-4-5 in D, or it's a 1-6-2-5-1 in A, or something like that, all you're really talking about is playing the harmonized major scale chords over that sequence in that key, in that particular key. So let's take the 1-6-2-5, and we'll keep it to our key of C. Remember, you can transpose this to any key that you want. In the same, just use that major scale and play. You know, the one chord's always a major, the two chords always a minor, etc. All right, so let's play it in C. Here's what it sounds like. That's the 1-6-2-5-1. If we look at that, the 1 chord is the C, which is a major. The 6th chord is an A minor. All right, it's way up here. All right. The 2 chord is a D minor. 5 chord is a G 7th. And 1 chord is a C. All right, so there you have it. Now let's do one more example, and we'll do this one in the blues, and it's probably the most complicated one, even though it seems simple. And it is simple. Blues is basically a 1-4-5, and so let's play that in C. So a blues in C would be the 1 chord, which is a C major, the 4 chord, which is an F major, the 5 chord, which is a G 7th, and of course back to the 1. So that's what a 1-4-5 is in C major. Certainly sounds like the blues or a rocked up blues. Now what's interesting in this one is that the blues, which is a little bit different, it changes some of the flavors of those chords, and that's one of the things that makes music really interesting, and our ears perk up. So the blues changes that 1 chord from typically changes that 1 chord from a major to a 7th. Instead of this, you get this. Sounds just a little bit different. And same with the 4 chord. A lot of times it's a 7th instead of a major, right? And that just gives it a little more stuff in there. So there's lots more uses, you know, from chord substitutions to all sorts of other things. But I think that's enough to give you the flavor of what the harmonized major scale is and why you'd want to use it. All right, till next time, we'll see you on down the road.